Good morning, Carmen.
Good morning.
Or I don't know, maybe for some of our Facebook members, it's afternoon. I'm happy to. I would like to know that it's afternoon somewhere in from our audience. I wrote today a lengthy code, but so commonly found in my around my colleagues and in our society nowadays. And it's from Epictetus, and it says the following. So what oppresses and scares us? It's our own thoughts, obviously. What overwhelms people when they are about to leave friends, family, old haunts, and their accustomed way of life? Thoughts. Again, straightforward, but so probably so complex, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the fact that indeed it's like, you know, these thoughts, right? They come again and again, and here I would interpret in the first place like our thoughts are not the reality. Our thoughts are our perception of reality, which is more or less close to the reality, or more or less, how would I call that? Then, not to say more or less useful to us, first of all, right? It's like we have a belief that the reality is good, or we have believed the reality is bad. And based on that belief, then we create lenses through which we look at the reality. So at the end of the day, the perceptual reality, that means our thoughts are not necessarily the reality. They are only thoughts about the reality, right? So here we understand what Epictetus said, that what oppresses and scares us? Our thoughts. And therefore, again, coming back to the coaching practice, what comes to my mind is one interview that I gave to the BBC some years ago. And they wanted to, let's say, ask questions or to understand more about what is the coaching that, or let's say a certain strand of coaching that I'm doing, which is to prepare for the European competitions, right? So this is a coaching for career development, and more precisely, it's a coaching for accompany my clients throughout the selection process of the European competitions. So, which is a very serious, a very thorough selection process, and can take up to 1 year, during which my clients are tested, or the participants are tested in different domains. And then, let's say, hopefully they will find themselves on the reserve list, and hopefully then they will have a job in the European institutions. Anyway, so that was the interview. So this BBC reporter wanted to find out about what I do and how I do it. And then I started to explain that, you know, I'm starting my coaching with the application forms or the documents. Then I go through all the tests, and then I explain a method. Then I do practice with my clients. Then they do practice themselves. Then they come back in order to double check whether they made the progress correctly, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the interview, the reporter said, so if I understand correctly, what you do is to to translate the European competition into something simpler, to make it explicit, to make it, let's say, more straightforward and direct, right? And so to me, that is very similar to Epictetus' thing, which is that It's not the reality that scares us. It's our thoughts about the reality that scares us. Whilst let's say in this situation of my clients, this is not necessarily the reality of the European competition that is so tough or difficult, but their thoughts about this reality, right? So what oppresses and scares my clients when they go for European competition is not the European competition per se, but it is their thoughts about the competition that is so oppressing. And whilst obviously I give them a method and I accompany them in the practice, nevertheless, the first thing I do is to contest, to confront them in that reading of the reality. And by doing so, they get liberating from the fear. They get liberating from this oppression. Therefore, then they could deploy their energy, let's say, into preparing, whilst before they were almost frozen into the fear. So that is to say that the quote, or let's say the comment of this reporter, I think that was on the same line as Epictetus, that what oppresses my clients were the thoughts, and then as soon as you change the thoughts, then the energy gets liberated. And I suppose that this is a very practical, if I could say, application of the thought in the daily coaching practice.
Indeed, it sounds like your clients can face reality by meeting you and seeing what are the limits of the competitions, and they can know, yes, I can do this. So they are not going too far with their fears and thoughts.
Exactly. So yes, that's the conclusion. Yes, we can.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.